Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of February 17th, 2020. Every week we chat about the things parents are talking about, complaining about, and obsessing about right now. I'm Nicole Erdix, and I'm here with Terry Morrow.
Hello.
And Catherine Haleko.
Hello.
This week we're talking about life admin and things we just can't do. Plus, taking a couple of breaks for an entertainment discussion and a recommendation roundup. Today we're talking about praising our kids. Now, did you know that there is actually a right way and a wrong way to praise your kids? We're supposed to be actually praising effort, never the outcome. So, for example, rather than saying, you got an A+ on your math test, congratulations, good job, you should be saying, wow, you worked so hard on that math test. I'm really proud of all the effort you put into finding the correct answers on the math test.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a very familiar kind of mantra. That's how, as a teacher, they've always talked about praising the process, not necessarily the outcome. But you know what? Sometimes it feels good for somebody to say, yay, you got an A+. Great job.
Yes. This is what I wonder. Why can't you do both?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wins the race.
Because
that person should be able to get a pat on the back.
You do not develop grit. You don't develop that.
Well, the way you develop grit is by losing and picking yourself back up. This came from an article, right, about how you're supposed to praise kids?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's one of a billion.
Yes, one of a billion, yes. I observe this a lot with Special Olympics. Special Olympics is a great program. It gives lots of opportunity for athletes with disabilities to get out, to do things, to be moving, to be using their bodies. It's constructed in a really ridiculous way, I think, where every 5 people who race, there's a gold medal, there's a silver medal, a bronze medal. I get it. That's nice. It's nice for lots of people to win. My son does Special Olympics bowling, where everybody has a handicap based on their average. And so you bowl, but the person who looks like they won by the scoreboard may not, in fact, be the winner. I can't even understand it. I'm sure the athletes don't understand it. But there's a general effort, it seems, to disconnect, to do exactly what this says, to praise the effort and not the result. I let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. And that's great, and that's encouraging. Obviously, these people aren't going to win, but I got to tell you, they still know who won. Mm-hmm. They still know who did well and who did not do well. Right. They still talk about it amongst themselves. They will come up and say, hey, how come you were so slow in your race today? I think human beings have that baked in.
Yeah.
No matter what your ability. You can get all the praise for effort, and that can make the people praising you feel good. But you still know you didn't get an A. And somewhere in there, that still bugs. Or you got the A, and all these other people got a bunch of praise. They got the same amount of praise as you, but you worked your butt off, and you got an A. You should get something for that. I don't know. I think that it's easy to go the other way with that because it feels good, and then you get to praise more kids, and you get to praise kids for more things. And sure, who doesn't like praise? But there's got to be some recognition also of excellence. And if that makes people feel bad, well, that's how you develop grit.
And sometimes that's motivating, right?
Yes, exactly. It was motivating to me like crazy because I wanted to have the best grade and I wanted to work the hardest. And
you wanted to be recognized, not just having the best.
And I wanted to be recognized.
Not just having the best grade secretly that only you knew, right?
Exactly. So I wish that there was a way to do both effectively.
Well, I think there is, because you can combine how you praise, your kids.
Yeah. And, effort is important. There's some people who can excel without effort. When I was in high school, I could write a paper like the night before it was due and get an A on it. Just because I could write, and I had a best friend who was, excelled in other things, but that was really hard for her and it drove her crazy that she would work on it for a week and get a B and I would work on it for a couple of hours, while I was waiting to get picked up by carpool and I would get an A. So sometimes do we not get to reward skill?
Yeah.
Do we only get to reward effort?
Well, it's interesting because both my kids, obviously play sports, and, one is hockey, and it's pretty objective, like whoever scores the most goals wins the game, right? But there's, of course, like, oh, the ref didn't make that call, or, this team, it wasn't a fair, we shouldn't have had to play that team because it wasn't fair. And like recently they had a game, and it was like a playoff game where whoever won the game was going to go to the state tournament. And my son's teams every single year have always won this game. And he's always gone to state. Well, this year, for reasons that are, like, I don't even understand, they played a different team than they normally would, and they lost. But they played so hard. They played the best we'd ever seen, like, the whole entire season.
Yes.
And all the parents and the coaches afterwards were like, who cares that they didn't win? Because they worked so hard, and they were in it, and they only lost because it was overtime, and it was sudden death overtime, which I hate. It's like, just flip a coin. Like, it doesn't even mean anything. But of course the kids were terribly disappointed. I mean, we could praise them all we wanted for their effort, and they were just like, yeah, we lost. We're not. So
that's hard.
Yeah, it was hard. And then with my daughter, it's entirely subjective. Her sport is all perception by the judges.
Right.
There's no, there's very little that's can be. They try to make the scoring system more objective, but it doesn't really. It doesn't really work that way.
Yeah. I was just thinking about, I mentioned that my son participates in Special Olympics bowling, and last year he was in a tournament, and he bowled like one of the best games of his life. His score was so high, he did so great, he focused the whole time, he threw a lot of strikes and spares, he did fantastic. But he didn't win. I don't think he even got a medal. I don't know, just something because of the people he was playing with, or the way the handicaps fell, or whatever. He didn't go on to the next thing. But that was a situation where I felt like, look at your effort. Look at what you did.
Right.
You are a winner to me. That was awesome. And everybody, his coaches, everybody said that. That was a great thing. Now, last week, he had another tournament, and he just, he wasn't focused. He wasn't doing well. His scores were very low. They were well before his average, and he also didn't win, and he didn't get, he got a participant medal or whatever. And, you want to do the same thing. Hey, buddy, well, if you had a good time, and you tried hard, and you did your best, but it was not the case, and it was not satisfying to him, and it was not satisfying to us.
Yeah.
So you don't want to say, what the heck is wrong with you? Why didn't you bowl better? Shame on you. But at the same time, to be all, yay you anyway, is also sometimes not appropriate. How do you do that where the effort wasn't there, and you don't want to make the person feel bad, but you also want to say, hey, next time, remember how this felt.
Yeah.
And maybe you can do a little better without making it be like, well, this is the end of the world,
Well, and
let's go home.
I mean, I feel like usually they know, right? Like, I mean, did he get it that, he didn't put in the same effort?
Yeah, I guess he did. But I mean, and it's hard, especially with Special Olympics, because sometimes it's not a deliberate application or non-application of effort.
Yeah.
There are brain things going on that some days you got it and some days you don't.
Right.
So it's not completely in his control. So it's not like he just, threw it off and I shouldn't do that next time. So it's, it's hard to know what to say. But yeah, I mean, I think he knew. But the time where he did really, really well, I don't know if he was able to say, yay me, that day either, because some of his friends went on to the next level and he didn't. Yeah. So, that feels like a loss, even though it's not. Right. I'm still mad about that. I don't know how they scored that, how that's possible that he didn't get something for that, because it was fantastic. So I just feel like just praising for effort is still not quite where it's at. And doing both kind of equally is not where it's at. Each child will have different things that motivate them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not universal.
Verbal praise isn't necessarily something that activates people. My husband's one of them. I mean, he has that personality where, you know, he knows how he's doing, and so he doesn't need anybody to say, great job doing those dishes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's definitely got that personality. And he said he used to get so annoyed by the teachers at school when he would get praised, you know, for silly stuff like walking quietly in the hallway or something, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So it's personality based too. Definitely.
Right, because something like that, you're told positive reinforcement, you know, do that. Make sure you notice them being good and walking quietly in the hall.
Yeah. And then that backfires, right? Because he's like, whatever. And then he starts being silly because he's like, but I think he's definitely not the norm in that regard. Yeah. It's challenging, but I think definitely overpraising can be very detrimental too. And
oh, for sure.
And under recognizing effort can be equally as damaging. So
yeah, you know, I guess again, just depends on the kid. Because a kid who can do really well and puts in some effort but not enough, you don't want to praise that effort because they're just phoning it in. But on the other hand, some kid is never going to make it to the top, but tries their hardest. Then you do. Like everything in parenting, it's hard.
Yes.
That's it for today's round 1. Tune in tomorrow for our entertainment-themed round 2, and later in the week to find out what we're complaining about, obsessing about, and recommending right now. We're always interested in what you have to say, so drop us a comment on our website, our Facebook page, or Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat.